Now we're moving into a new section, and in this new section, we're going to talk about time management and productivity, and you're going to learn how to study smarter, how to focus more, and how to achieve more. You can see the different lectures that we're going to cover here. So there's 6 different lectures that we're going to cover in this section. And the first one's going to be all about the college schedule explained. So you're going to learn about semesters and quarters and workload planning. And then we're going to talk about mastering time management and using Google Calendar and time blocking and to-do lists to help you with that. So you're going to learn all about that. And this is super important right here, knowing how to use some sort of a digital version of a calendar. And I'm going to show you how to use Google Calendar in that video. So, you could use whatever calendar you want, but that's the one I like. So that's one I'm going to show you how to use. But the main idea is that you're going to learn how to use a calendar. And that was new to me at one point in my life, right? Getting organized, keeping things organized, staying on task, staying focused, getting stuff done. That was all new to me. And so just to illustrate this, just to give you a high level sort of takeaway, and a really important takeaway about how you could remain productive, how you could stay focused, how you could study smarter, get more done, and achieve more. You want to make sure that you're using your time efficiently. So time is the only resource that any of us have. It's the only resource any of us have, and it's true wealth. And I was literally hanging out with a friend of mine, my friend who's that venture capitalist, whose wife works with Elon Musk on a daily basis. I was hanging out with my friend who's the venture capitalist. He's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And I'm hanging out with him and his brother. We're at his beach house. And, it's like 10:30 at night. And then one of his kids comes in. And one of his kids is moving towards his first job at a law firm up in the Bay Area. And we're talking, and I say, hey, who's the richest person in this room? And he looks around between the 3 of us. And he's like, I don't know. And he points to my buddy who's the venture capitalist. I said, no, he's not the richest person in the room. The richest person in the room is you. Because look at us. We're all old guys. We're in our 50s. Man, you're like, what, 23, 24? You got your whole life ahead of you. I mean, assuming we all live, to the projected age or maybe hopefully longer that humans, are expected to live in different areas. Then, you're the wealthiest one here. You have more time than any of us. So time is the only true wealth. Time is the greatest resource, and you want to make sure that you spend your time well. Just like you want to make sure that you spend your money well, right? Like you don't want to just be like, yeah, let's buy that stuff. Let's buy it. You don't want to throw your money away, right? You want to make sure that you also do not throw your time away. You want to spend your money well. And so that's really the essence of thinking about that. And to illustrate what that looks like, there are goals that I want to achieve in my life. There's a certain mindset that I want to have in my life. There's a certain amount of success in all of the 4 areas that I want: financial success, physical success, physical health, right? Mental, intellectual, emotional health, social health. Those are all things that I want. And I know that to be successful, it's what I know, it's who I know, and it's mindset. And so to use my time well, when I'm driving, I'm listening to amazing stuff. I'm listening to interesting stuff. I'm listening to great podcasts. I'm listening to great people. I'm listening to great books on, Audible books that you could just buy and play over your phone. I am not wasting my time. Occasionally I listen to music. Yeah, feels good. Love music. Rock out. Nice to get that energy up, get that excitement flowing. Like that's another thing. But I'm consciously, with intent, looking at and choosing. I'm making those decisions. How I spend my time. So today I had to go to the college campus. It's usually Friday. I usually don't have to go in. I work from home. But today there's a meeting that I need to go to, and it's like a 20-minute drive, 25-minute drive. And some people might look at that and they'd be like, it took me 50 minutes. That's 50 minutes out of my day. But for me, it's like, no, it was great. I enjoyed it. I got in the car and I was doing the next thing, which uses my time well. I was listening to Tony Robbins talk about stuff, and I was learning, and I was growing my knowledge, growing my what I know, right? Growing what I know. And I was immersing myself in this positive material, and I was growing my mindset. So I was really working on, in a very enjoyable way, 2 areas that are important. I was using my time. And by the way, getting a positive mindset is not just about being fake or faking the positivity. It's something that literally occurs when you immerse yourself in being more positive and different perspectives and more positive perspectives. It changes your wiring in your brain when you start making those choices, like, what story am I telling myself, right? One event can occur and there's an infinite number of reactions to that event. And my mind might initially tell a story, which is like, not that great. Like, it doesn't happen as often as it used to when I was younger, right? But, if my mind tells a story that's not that great, I'll be like, what other story can I tell myself? And then I could tell myself another story, right? But over time, as you make those decisions, as you make those choices, as you tell yourself more skillful stories, and then also as you immerse yourself in material, which allows you to cultivate a better mindset, a more skillful mindset. Remember what Marcus Aurelius said, the soul becomes dyed in the color of its thoughts. As you immerse yourself in that, that starts to become authentically who you are. It's not like being fake and being, just a fake positivity. It becomes like, man, I'm enthusiastic, I'm happy, I feel great, I feel capable, I feel competent, I feel empowered, I feel like I am making my life happen, I'm building my life, I love it, there's so much I have to be grateful for. All of these things just naturally become who you are. You rewire your brain. You rewire your brain. Your brain literally gets rewired, and it's beautiful rewiring. It's like going into a house that maybe wasn't put together all that well and being like, okay, let's rip some things out, let's rewire this place, let's get it working well. That's what you could do with your mind. You have neuroplasticity. That's what what do they call them? Not the psychologists, but the neuropsychologists, the neuroscientists. That's the word I'm looking for. That's what the neuroscientists call it. It's neuroplasticity. It means your neurons, the wiring in your brain, has a plastic quality. It's a malleable quality. It could be changed. And that's the growth mindset. And this is all documented. And the more you do something, the more that becomes who you are, because you create those neural pathways. You literally change your brain. You literally physically change your brain. You create new neural pathways in your brain. So you just have to immerse yourself in it, steep yourself in it, choose more skillful stories that you tell yourself, and then that becomes who you are. And that is using your time well, right? I'm not wasting time. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying life. I'm enjoying all of it. And I'm becoming better, stronger, more skillful, more successful in all ways. So that's what you're going to learn in this section. Like, how do I use my time well? You're walking to class, right? Okay, you want to be careful when you're listening to stuff and you're out in the world, because if you don't have your sense, which is hearing, and some people just don't have that, like my grandmother was deaf, but if you're used to relying upon your sense, which is hearing, and you have headphones on and you're listening to stuff, like really tune in that you don't walk out in front of cars. I don't want anybody to get hit by a car because of this. But like while you're walking to class, you could put earbuds in, noise canceling earbuds or noise canceling headphones, and you can listen to, if you want to get your vibe on and get some energy up, you can listen to some good music, but also you can listen to positive things that help you build that mindset, help you build what you know, and help you advance your skill set and help you advance the number of books you've read, so that when you're talking with your professors, you're like, yeah, I went through this other book because this course was interesting to me. So I got this other book and I went through it and I really enjoyed it, right? Like you could grow your knowledge, grow your experience, grow your mindset, use your time well. That's the main takeaway. So avoiding procrastination, we're going to talk about that as one of the lectures. Building daily success routines, right? Again, you start to build habits, you start to build routines, and you start to do things in certain ways, and then that just becomes who you are. Think about being like in the military. This is actually one of the best things the military teaches people. And I went down and I did research about the United States Marine Corps. I went down to San Diego and Camp Pendleton, and I spent 5 days there. And I was blessed. I had this opportunity to just be immersed in what they take cadets and what they do with the cadets. They bring cadets into the United States Marine Corps. It's their first time there. They pick them up at the airport. They put them on a bus. They bring them to the depot, the Marine Corps depot, right? And they get them off and they shave their heads. They put them through this whole process. And I watched that process for 5 days. And I got to talk with all the drill sergeants and everybody. And I learned all this information about the Marine Corps, about how they take people. And this is how one of the drill sergeants explained it to me. He said, I got to take wet rags and turn them into Marines. I have to take limp, wet rags and in 13 weeks, turn them into Marines. And so that's what this drill sergeant said to me, but that's what you can learn to do. That's changing your routines, changing your habits, learning new ways of being in the world. And when you're in the military, you got somebody saying, get up, get going, it's time right now, get out there, soldier, come on, let's go, Marines. right? They got somebody telling them, but they're instilling in them a new mindset, a new can-do attitude, a new capability. Like, okay, we're gonna address this challenge, we're gonna face this challenge, we're gonna do it. We're gonna get up early, we're gonna get on it, we're gonna work, right? We're gonna get our exercise. They're teaching them all of these habits that you're learning here. Now you probably don't have the benefit of living with a drill sergeant, but you need to think about building daily success routines, and that's what we're gonna talk about there. And then we're gonna talk about social engagement, clubs, organizations, mentors, networking, and friends. And that's also really important because you got to build that area of your life, because the quality of your life depends upon the quality of your relationships. And the 4 areas of health are physical, financial, intellectual, mental, and emotional. That's everything up here in your head. And then also social. It's one of the 4 areas of health. And then one of the 3 things that make you successful is what you know and who you know. That's number 2. And then, of course, also mindset. Right? But you want to take that time to cultivate social. So when I was younger, I've always been pretty like, let's do stuff and make things happen. But I was challenged socially. And I was challenged socially. And that was an area I had to learn to kind of like back off a little bit on the gas pedal and to take time just to chill and laugh and have a good time. But you know what? Everybody can learn. I'm here learning. We can all learn. And that's one of the areas you got to focus on is your social. And then finally, we've already talked about this briefly, the power of sleep, but I just want to make sure that it's its own lecture in the course because it's so important. And there could be this sort of like, attitude or this perspective or this like concept that it's kind of cool to shortchange yourself sleep. And I'm working so hard. I didn't get much sleep last night, but sleep is super important to learning. It's like, it's basically where it takes everything that you did during the day and puts it into long-term storage. And so if you don't have your sleep, you're gonna miss getting things put into long-term storage effectively. Maybe 10%, maybe 15, maybe 20% will get into long-term storage, but you're not gonna get the benefit of all the work you put in learning during that day unless you get your sleep that night. So you have to get your sleep. So that's a brief overview of all of the lectures that we're going to cover in this section. And I think this video right here is going to be another introduction. So that's another introduction to this section. And in the next video, we're going to start learning about some of the things that we could do to be more successful with time management and productivity. See you in that next video.